Hello, friends and family, which is what you are to me on Chess.com. It's the Chess Today show. Been a little bit of a break for the last 10 days or so, apologies for that. But let's not talk about the past. Let's focus on the present. Because as the turtle from Kung Fu Panda would say, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but the daily puzzle is a gift, and that is why it is the present. And we're gonna solve the daily puzzle right now. Maurice Charles Ashley. First of all, did you know that his middle name was Charles? I didn't. I probably should have known that, but I know I've actually played both of these guys in multiple games. This is actually a typo. It's Maurice Ashley versus Charles Van Buskirk. And I know that because I have played Charles Van Buskirk multiple times, an international master from the Southern California area. One of the first international masters I beat, actually, as a young Padawan. So let's solve the daily puzzle. It is white to play. We see it right away. So what do you do when you're looking at a tactic? We've talked about this. Checks, captures, tempo moves, the big three, right? You always have to be aware of that, but that doesn't always make things easier, and that doesn't always roll off the tongue or roll off the brain. So I actually believe the proper way to calculating chess at a high level and solving puzzles is to start with the positional essence first. So the first thing you should recognize quickly is a weak king, right? And you see weak dark squares around that king. And so you fantasize about the possibility of entering in on those dark squares and making things happen. So one of the first things you should consider is a removal of the piece that is stopping you from coming into this square. The issue is that by removing that knight, and they capture back, and then entering in on this square, you've given up your rook. And so naturally you would be inviting intentions for the queen to give a bunch of checks, and probably that's not going to work out for you. So you take things to the next level once you've seen that your initial first immediate goals of removal of the defender don't allow for an easy win. Then you start to get a little more aggressive. You start to think, all right, well, if I can't remove that defender and force my way through, perhaps there's something even more creative as a solution here. And I'm saying all this out loud to give you an insight into my thought process and the hopes that you might actually be trying to solve this yourself and actually try to learn something here. So if it's hard, one of the things you do as a chess teacher is I'm trying to give you context of how thought processes are developed at a high level so that you can maybe pick out little things and apply them to your own game. But remember that a lot of this is guidelines. There's really no exact science or dogmatic approach. You know, there's so many famous books, you know, Think Like a Grandmaster, right? And that whole series. And Jacob Agard has some books that are sort of recent but on similar wavelengths of trying to give you ideas about how to approach and how to think. But I think you just have to remember that chess is a game where you can't compartmentalize everything. There's not just tactics here and positional stuff here and strategy here. It all works together at a high level. And so, but I would say that if you start with the essence first, where are the obvious weaknesses and where are my obvious weaknesses? Then the squares start to pop out at you. To see chess like a grandmaster, you're not just looking at tactics and then when the smoke clears after the gunfire expecting it to work. You start with what you expect to see at the end of the gunfire by recognizing the weaknesses in a position, and that allows you to execute at a higher level more consistently, because then the tactics serve the strategy of your positional thinking. What did Botvinnik say? Tactics are the servant of strategy, not the opposite. So let's dive in right here and just solve this daily puzzle without any more advice being given to you. He has to capture our queen, obviously, which allows the rook to come in. It ends here. I don't know why our daily puzzle doesn't just go one more move and let white complete the checkmate, but there you go. Let's play that thing one more time, instant replay, and we have officially solved the daily puzzle. So we have our first chess on the board. Let's get back to the home page and engage in our first fan interaction of the day. So, hi everybody, International Master Danny Rensch here. If you haven't watched the Chess Today show, it's very much almost a podcast style format where you get kind of insight into how I like to start my day on chess.com. Love to solve the daily puzzle. I love to make my moves in my daily chess game. As you can see, I have 6 of them here. I love to get made fun of by people that I'm neglecting 573, I think, or 1 current messages on the site. I'm really sorry. I need to get to my fan site presence, working on that. And then we like to check out what's going on in the chess world and maybe even play some games with all of you and answer some of your questions in the chat. So let's pop over to the chat and see who's here. Poker Bras, are you guys copying the Chess Bras name, or did Poker Bras come first? Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Either way, thanks for being here in the Twitch chat. Wacky Weirdo, love you. My question for Danny, your analysis of the Aronian Carlsen game was the best I saw, any chance we could see more of those in the future. First of all, thank you for being a subscriber to our Twitch channel, BJH13. Thank you for the compliments, and I want to apologize to everybody for the sound quality in that video. I'll stop apologizing, stop self-deprecating, but I just always feel bad when the sound quality isn't to the professional standards that we have. So, but I was so excited. You're lucky I put a shirt on for that video. For those of you who don't know the YouTube video that he's talking about, I'll go ahead and bring it up here. So we had I love Chess Network's channels. Jerry's videos are great. So we have this video here is the one that he's talking about, but this was a pretty casual. This was a pretty casual. I threw this together really quickly after being in the pool all day with my kids, and like I said, you're lucky I put a shirt on. So let's just be happy that we got a video done. Any chance you can see more of it? I always plan to make more content and do more things to do what I love the most, which is to teach chess. More than I think even playing chess, I love to teach chess. So the answer is yes, I will be trying to do more of those videos. Thank you for watching. What's up, King's Bishop? Poker Bras was inspired by Chess Bras. That's good to know. Everybody else in the Twitch chat, thanks for being here. Keep your questions coming. We're going to try to give some advice today. The Chess Today show is a lot about giving you interaction, and it's kind of a, like I said, it's a podcast, kind of casual style show. Danny, will you be buying Garry Kasparov's Masterclass series? I recommend that you buy it. Is that a fair answer? Hashtag winning. What else do we got here? Blah, 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 blah. I'm looking for some questions. How should we organize our time in very long games, like 1 hour plus 40 moves? That's time management is a really good question, and it's a tough one to answer like as a general umbrella advice because each game is different. But I will say the one thing in general to realize is that the best players are up on time unless they're losing. Meaning, usually time gets used because they don't know what's going on. You should try to see the clock as your weapon, not your enemy. Which is, if you can really focus hard on your opponent's time and improve your knowledge of what's going on in the position, you should always be looking to make moves quickly to keep the pressure back on your opponent. Now, that's not justification to play too fast in critical moments, but you want to manage your time, not take your time. Some students fall in the trap of, okay, I just need to force myself to slow down. I'll just take 2 minutes on every move no matter what or something. And that can be a bad habit because not every position is the same. And plus, if you're really engaged in thought on your opponent's time, you should be able to move more quickly, and you should have anticipated the move that was played, right? So start to have the mindset that the clock is your weapon, not your enemy, and manage your time knowing that there are always 3 moments in a chess game to think. The first one is the moment a move is made in the opening theory and you are on your own. That can happen on move 1, depending on your level of understanding, or if someone plays A3 or something, or it can happen on move 27 if you're a Najdorf English attack expert, right? I mean, no matter what, everybody reaches a point where they're on their own and they need to start calculating. That is a moment to stop and smell the roses and really appreciate whatever time when you have, setting the tone for the next several set of moves. The next moment you always need to think in a chess game is the moment where the first opportunity for serious exchanges come up. A serious exchange can be a single bishop for knight. Do I really want to give up the bishop pair? Am I getting double pawns? Whatever. But when you're considering an exchange that's going to change the nature of the game, that is time to slow down and think. The third moment where you should always spend time is the transition to the endgame. I'm assuming you're still in an equal game here and you're not just getting killed or killing somebody. The transition to the endgame and properly evaluating the endgame, to use a chess cliche when describing chess. You have to properly see your endgame, see your goals, and really establish, can you achieve them? Thinking from the end, as Grandmaster Melikachian would say in his videos. I love that stuff. That's what I would say my 3 big blanket pieces of advice. So enough talking. Let's jump into more chess. I have some daily chess games going. For those of you who don't know who James Montemagno is, he is one of my best buddies and the person I do the podcast with, blunders.fm. So let me share that with you in the chat. Blunders.fm. Check out our podcast. Ton of fun. James Montemagno, love that guy. And there you go. So unfortunately, James Montemagno is brand new to chess. And he is getting checkmated in 1 move here. If you want to pause the video and see if you can see it, otherwise, just time to move forward. I established and kind of threatened a mating net of several moves ago, and there really wasn't much he could do about it. Obviously, he's just getting into chess. We talk about these games, and I give him advice in the podcast, so that's kind of the main reason we're doing it. Otherwise, it's not not really a serious battle. So in my game here, this is again from the tournament. I always love playing in the chess.com tournaments. Hope everybody else does too. It's just fun, even though I lose most of my games. Though I feel like I'm playing well this year. So here I've just won a pawn on the queen side. The last several moves, I guess, if we were backing up just to show you, is I set up a plan early to establish with this move rook to c3 that I was going to gang up on this pawn, and he really is not allowed to move this knight because of the threat of knight e5. Unfortunately for my opponent, he just missed that knight e5 was coming or underestimated it and played knight f6. I think this game had much more potential to be a tough one for me to really squeeze my advantage, but he blundered knight e5, which forced the loss of this c-pawn, and I do expect to be able to go on to win this endgame pretty easily, because it's not just the c-pawn that's falling. I'm going to bring my rook to c7, and things are going to be fun. So let's continue. This is an interesting one, also against the same opponent. Let's go to our analysis board. You know how much I love our daily chess analysis. So the last several moves, I calculated all of these options right here. So this is sort of a forcing sequence. I'm going to trade, capture on d4, and force this endgame because I evaluate that my knight is a little better than his bishop right now, and you know I like that my pawn structure is better. Right, he's got these weaknesses on the queen side, but c4 is a strong move. Not only does that try to prepare to prove me wrong and open up this bishop, but it sort of forces my hand to defend in this way. If I had played this rook to d8, I have to worry about lines like captures and b4. Although in hindsight, looks like it doesn't actually work. I could fork his knight and pawn. I calculated quickly on my mobile device that if I take it, he takes here and he gets this one right here. And I was like, oh no, right, I don't want to allow that. So anyway, but it looks like I could have played knight d3. I don't regret bringing the other rook to d8 though. Now I have this passed d pawn, and I think I'm just going to play d4. And I think the tone of this endgame is going to be, you know, can I coordinate a good chance to use my passed d pawn? I'm the only one with a passed pawn on the board. I do have a very well placed knight to kind of control the squares around that pawn and keep a grip on the position. But his bishop is not a bad piece. I mean, if he plays like bishop c6 and then like f4, you know, this is interesting. I think that I have to calculate whether at some point I can play things like d3, and I think I can, and then get a rook lift. I think this is going to be key. If I can double rooks on the d file, this should be key. So let's add a little bit of analysis there and say getting the rooks coordinated on the d file is going to be key to a victory in this endgame. What does that do? It's a little bit of a note for myself, and I get to save it. And it's just fun little analysis. So I'm going to play d4, and I'm going to try to be aggressive with my d pawn. Cruel Intentions, starring Sarah Michelle Gellar and Ryan Phillippe. Hashtag horrible movie from the 90s. Okay, so this is a tough one. Now, the reason you didn't see some of Mike's games in the last Chess Today show is because Mike was on vacation, touring the world. He was in Bali and many other places. Mike loves to travel. And he forfeited the games in this official Chess.com staff tournament because his vacation time ran out. So that does happen to even staff members. But I didn't want to win that way, obviously, both this game and another game that I'm actually losing in. So we restored them. We have the ability to do special things on the admin side in our database. So we restored the games because I didn't want to beat Mike on time, even though I gained like 40 rating points. So I could have been selfish and kept those rating points, but no. So we restored those games, and that's why you didn't see them going before. But this is an interesting line of the Pierce. I like this little bishop g5 development, and often now the choice is, do you go back to like a classical development, or do you play an Austrian style with a big pawn center and trying to be really aggressive on the dark squares? The risk of going f4 is it's an extra pawn move instead of a developing move, and so sometimes if they get aggressive and try to start taking advantage of things in the center, you find yourself struggling to catch up in terms of development. That's always the risk of advancing pawns rather than the pieces, and so I have to make a decision about that. But of course, if I play knight f3, you know, you have a little bit less potency, right? You don't have that big monster center with e5 coming. So both are totally playable. I've played both. I don't even know which line I prefer. Let's analyze this though. Let's analyze. I know that I'm actually allowed to look up openings Explorer theoretically in daily chess games, but I pretty much never use the resources allowed. If we got something like this is the issue. He plays h6, and I feel like this is kind of awkward as far as dealing with the e-pawn. It's interesting though. It's rather interesting. The other question is, if he played b4 early, could I just go knight a4? I mean, I probably could, because then I could meet knight f6 with both e5 or bishop d3, and he has to deal with this pawn. So if he defends it, I get aggressive, and I have e5 coming. Yeah, that makes me feel like I should be in the aggressive line. Let's go for f4. Why not? So now this is the tough one against Mike. I'm down a pawn in the endgame, and I've been holding the position based on threats over here, right? So if he takes the pawn, I have threats of check and taking. So Mike is trying to show good Russian schoolboy technique and beat me in this game. And as I've said, Mike is one of the best daily chess players on our staff because he really uses his time, especially against me. He loves beating me in these games. So the question is, how can I hold this position? I can play tickle here, which I think is what I'm going to do. I think what I should be doing is keeping the bishop and queen both on the board until he forces his way through. If I play queen here, but maybe he has this move. Or does he? He's not actually threatening. Oh no, if I have to play king g7 and he takes with the queen and I come in, he is threatening stuff. So this is going to be tough. So if I keep the queen on the board and he comes into this pawn, I can't just pop back because f7 hangs. If I go into b3, he can take with the knight, possibly, because if I take on b2, he gets f7. But it's risky for him. I have check, and then check here, and he goes here, and then even something like king to g7. I don't know that this is the easiest position in the world for white to win, given the circumstances of what's going on here. And I wonder if sometimes there's even ideas of bishop takes g3 and try to bring the king out and get a perpetual check draw. But let's say I go here and he comes back to coordinate and I just start like ganging up on the pawns. No, then he'll have queen e3 and I can't take there. But I could play queen to b1 maybe, and if he plays queen e3, I have to defend. Even this position I don't see as being that easy for him to advance pawns without having some tactical difficulties. I don't know that I would like to go for this. I think he can defend and then maybe find a way to coordinate, and it just, if I don't have anything concrete. But I do feel like I have decent drawing chances in this game. I just feel like I need to get the right setup here. Should I consider taking? I mean, if I take and try to hold this pawn and he pops in and I play something like a4, this is also interesting, but it seems with the queens off the board, this is going to be even harder to hold. Let's save this analysis. Really big picture, rather than even queen c4, I feel like just going back to f5 and calling his bluff, because if we're going through the last few moves, what were they? Queen f5, queen d3, queen f4 here. And if I go back to f5, does he have anything better than queen d3? If he takes the pawn, I give a little Chekhovsky and gobble up here, and I'm happy. I feel like this is going to be a much easier position to hold. Although, maybe not. Maybe he goes here, check, and here, and maybe this is what he has in mind. No, but I have moves like bishop d4. Yeah. Yeah, if he ever pushes the c-pawn, I immediately have bishop to d4. So I don't know. I'm just going to go back to f5. Play a little tickle. Let Mike, the ball's in Mike's court, right? This one has been a little bit of a maneuvering game for a while, but I have finally kind of figured out a way to coordinate the breakthrough on the dark squares. And I don't even know that I want the pawn. I want the whole thing here. I want Bob Barker wrapped up in a package. I'm going to play rook b4 and try to enter on the 7th rank and do some nasty things. Nasty. Honey Badger style. Rook to c1. I'm just simplifying out the queen side here. I've broken through. I have a big advantage, a lot of pawns, and really, I think he's just kind of staring at a dream over here. I don't think he has anything concrete to break down my king side. So I will call his bluff. Although, note, should I also consider d4? No. No, it doesn't work. Sorry. Hallucinating. Okay, so let's just go rook c1. And just like that, we have completed chess portion 2. Daily puzzle, make your moves in the daily chess game. This is how everybody should start their day on chess.com. Oh my God, I've had coffee sitting here. And I haven't been drinking it. Why do we drink this stuff? Just kidding. Love me some Joe. Let's check in on the chat again. I know we've got people hanging out. We've got lots of fun times happening. Danny is such a cutie from Aiden Alphabet. Thank you. Thank you. You're cute too. Having absolutely no idea who you are. More messages below. Just got here from Nicolaitis. What's going on? This is the Chess Today show, bro. Subscribe to us right now on Twitch and get alerts. This is a show that's about hanging out, having fun, making some magic on chess.com to start our day right. By the way, before going anywhere else, I'm going to remind you that immediately after this show, we have Grandmaster Lawrence Trent. Wait, he's International Master. International Master Lawrence Trent is starting his show, The Blitz Brawls, normally on Thursdays. He basically took my Bullet Brawls idea and said, Danny, I love you so much. Imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. I'm going to copy your show format, but do it for Blitz. And I said, Lawrence, go get him, buddy. You have an English accent, which kind of gives you a get-out-of-jail-free card in regards to doing things. Who knew that getting out of, tough situations, all you needed was a sexy English accent. So Lawrence has that, which means I got nothing. So Lawrence is going to be playing, everybody right here, the Blitz Brawls is starting right after this show at 10 a.m. Pacific. So go nowhere and stick around for Lawrence's show right after the Chess Today show. Checking in on the chat once again. Where are my questions? I want to give you advice. I want to help your chess career. And I'm not getting questions that are giving me the opportunity to do this. Okay? Danny prepares for the end of the world by having as many accents as possible. That was never a part of my game plan, but that's not a bad idea. I mean, I appreciate that, right? I mean, if, who knows, right? If Germans take over, right? Maybe that was a bad reference. If Australians take over, right? I mean, if Russians take over, I would fit in. They'd be like, oh, this guy's Russian. He's cool. Any hooters. Looking for some question. Which is worth more, a tempo or doubling opponent's pawns? Obviously, every position is different. If I had to choose in a neutral game, so that's an interesting question from Eric Davis 123. Thanks for being here in the Chess TV chat. Again, as you said, you answered your own question. It's individual, right? I mean, if the tempo you're gaining is leading to forced checkmate or the win of material, I think it's pretty clear that a tempo move is something that you want, right? If double pawns are the only chance you have to create a long-term weakness in your opponent's camp, that's probably worth a tempo. So basically, those are two different types of things. You're asking, should I play for the initiative or positional advantages? And it depends on the situation. But I will say that in general, the positional advantage, unless you see a concrete follow-through for the gaining of a tempo, for grabbing the initiative, and in sort of an idea you're trying to execute, giving your opponent a permanent positional problem, weaknesses that they can't undo, is a big deal because that allows you to develop high-level plans where from here on out, you're attacking something that your opponent can't stop, right? And that changes the mindset of everything you develop. It becomes almost a very small game of technique already where you're strangling an advantage, and it's as long as you stop your opponent from creating other problems, you should be positionally better, right? And who knows what that can lead to. So, that's a positional mindset. Obviously, the initiative is really critical, especially, I think, at faster time controls. Your ability to keep your opponent on their heels, especially if you have targets to play for. But in general, if you just like playing attacking moves, like I just want to attack the queen or give them a positional weakness, probably positional weaknesses are better. It's a bigger picture way to think about stuff, right? If you don't have a concrete follow-through for gaining a tempo in a position, then all it is you're just playing one move chess, right? So that would be the best way I could answer that. So, hey everybody, saying hi. Aubrey1010, Asker DK, DK2015. Everybody, thanks for being here. The Chess Today show rolls on now. And before we get to our next quick little chess segment, maybe we do a feature. Let's talk about what's going on in the chess news. Obviously, I mentioned before, some of you may have gotten here, the people were talking about the video I did. You can check it out on YouTube. I think I can share links in the chat, right? We can you know, we did this video here, and I think we also uploaded it to Twitch. So I just shared a link on Twitch. But if you check out our video archive, I'm pretty sure we uploaded it directly to Twitch, so you can just watch it right on Twitch. Anyway, so the Norway chess super finals going on. Obviously, the big news is that Magnus Carlsen is not on his way to winning this event, right? Levon Aronian and the American Hikaru Nakamura have been the two winning horses to bet on so far. Aronian won yet again, beating Kramnik after a brilliant win over Magnus Carlsen. So there's our standings right there, right? We've got this situation of Hikaru Nakamura and Levon Aronian right at the top. Nakamura has never won the Norway Chess Super Tournament. I don't think Aronian has either. I think Karjakin and Carlsen are the only two that have. So, no, maybe Topalov? I forget. Anyway, I'm not a chess historian. I'm not a stat guy. But anyway, this is interesting stuff. Obviously, Jan Ludvig Hammer has been doing content for us in Norwegian. So he had a rest day show today just before this show. So if you speak Norwegian and want to check out some of that, please do it. But okay, we've got fun news reports. It'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. Other than the Speed Chess Championship, shameless plug for our own event, this is the strongest event of the year. In fact, this is stronger than the Speed Chess Championship, of course it is. But the Speed Chess Championship also has a lot of these guys, and I can't wait for that to be rolling on. Speaking of which, the Chess TV schedule had a change of events. The match between Grishik and Rapport was moved to August. Those two guys had a scheduling conflict, and we work with them to try to do that. So that's just a quick heads up if you're keeping track of the Speed Chess Championship schedule. So, all right, so what have we done here? We've solved the daily puzzle. We've done some games. We've played some moves in the daily chess games. We've talked a little bit about the biggest news. I don't really know that there's much else going on in regards to news in the chess world. It's all Norway Chess right now. Obviously, we landed a big sponsor. The Masterclass company is sponsoring the Speed Chess Championship. Not getting into the details there, but really happy to have their support and happy to help them with what they're doing. So that was kind of cool. Okay. Let's do something fun. We go to our Learn page. What are our options here, everybody? We've done Vision. We've done a drill on this show. We've never solved puzzles live. Let's see if I can get my brain going with some high-level puzzle thinking today. I'm currently holding just above 2702. Let's solve a couple puzzles here. Knight to c3, attacking the queen. Clearly, what's the material count? We have to take in the essence. Part of the essence is not just weaknesses, for those of you who've been with the show the full time, but also material. You have to establish that you have to gather information to assess the situation properly. Material here is completely equal, and there's a tempo on my queen. I think taking, knight b5 forks the queen and the rook, and after queen to a5, I have knight to b3, winning material. What? So we're doing instant replay? What is going on here? Let's analyze this thing. Did you know you could click analyze and just instantly analyze it? So if I play rook takes, what's going on here? Queen takes and knight b5. Oh, duh, he just takes c4. Hashtag brain junk. Whatever, that was stupid. So what was the answer? I was just going quickly there, but I got to get back up of 2700 before the show ends. Wait, I didn't even see that. What just happened? Queen to b3. So the knight is just trapped. Okay, I'll buy it. Next puzzle. Okay, so this is an interesting one. Clearly he wants to get his rook in a position where he can sacrifice for the pawn. But if we just play king f2, oh no, king f1. Because when he goes here, we give check. No, it has to be king f2. No, but then he can play rook d2. Interesting here, right? Look at this, everybody. If king f2, rook to d1, or sorry, if king c7, rook d1, bishop's f4 check, and then bishop e3, white wins. But if king to f2, or sorry, king to c7, he has rook to e7. If king to f1, he can play rook to d1, king to c8. Sorry, my board's flipped around. If king to c8, rook to d1, check moves. There's no way to block him. So what's the deal here? How am I... Is it check, he moves, and then bishop to d6 first? Seems unlikely. Feels like there should be a simple pattern here that I'm missing. If I play bishop to g5, he just goes back, rook to d1, and the pawn falls. So let's see. I don't have much time here, and I really want to get back above 2,700. If I attack his rook, does that help me in any way? He comes up. And then I give... if I attack his rook and he comes up, then I give check and he moves, I can go there and he can't go back. So if I attack his rook and he plays rook d5... sorry, rook e4, but how do I stop this? I don't know. This is a tricky one, yeah? I'm sure somebody's screaming the answer at me in the chat, but I don't check it because I'm not a cheater. I focus on what's in front of me. Thanks, Turtle from Kung Fu Panda. Thank you. I don't see exactly the concrete approach here, to be honest. Bishop f4 check, king moves. I'm getting tired of this one. I just want to do another one. What is the answer? I don't even know. Okay, I considered this. Why was this so hard for me to see? I have no idea. Sometimes I just do stupid things, everybody. Sometimes I just do stupid things. Takes. Knight d2 or knight g5. No, I'm looking at the weaknesses here. My rook is hanging. That's a fun fact. If rook takes f2, I'm threatening rook f1. There's no checks. If rook takes e1, rook takes, and I move the knight, he can take the queen. I'm not even mating him, so I'm just going to eliminate that. That doesn't seem right. If I take on g3, there's also moves like queen to c3 check, even though they don't do anything. But the problem with takes g3 is he just takes back, and then what, right? So that also doesn't seem right. Rook takes f2 seems more natural. If queen takes, I mate him. If bishop takes, I can take with the queen. That's kind of cool, right? It seems like that would make sense. Okay, so yeah, that's right. So if he goes there, now what? Am I just taking the bishop for free? A free piece. A piece is a piece is a piece, as they say. Seems possible that the answer is just a simple win of a piece. Knight to d2 would allow queen c3 check. I don't see any other mating nets, so I'm going to do it. Okay. Only gained 3 points. Man, ruthless behavior from the algorithm, huh? Okay, great. Rook over. If we push, he takes, so it can't be. So it's got to be king up. Nope, king d5. Duh. Stupid. King d5 blocks the king out. All right, so I dropped a bunch of rating points live on Chess TV before Lawrence Trent kicks off with the Blitz Brawls. But I will be back on 2,700. In fact, that'll be a challenge. By the time we do another Chess Today show, you will see me above 2,700. So don't think I'm going to give up on my dream of maintaining a mediocre chess career. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I just want to say that you're all awesome. Please give us a follow. Give us a subscribe on Twitch, on chess.com.tv. Thank you, everybody, for being here. So much fun. Not enough time. Not enough time to thank all of you for being awesome and being on chess.com. So stick around. Lawrence Trent is going live with Blitz Brawls in like a couple seconds, right? In fact, he is, I'm going to check right now, but it seems to me that he is, I have been told that that he will be ready. He is ready. Yep. Yep. Lawrence is doing it on Tuesday this week instead of Thursday because he's actually going to be traveling to Oslo to check out some of the Norway Chess Super Final in person. Good for him. So stick around. International Master Lawrence Trent, thanks for watching the Chess Today show. Look for the Chess TV calendar. We're going to try to really make this a daily thing. Whether Danny Rensch is always the host of Chess Today or somebody else, we need to have a show that engages with you, the fans, on chess.com TV like this every day. So we're working on that. I hope you like that.